welcome back to a brand new episode. Today, I've got Rocyie with us in the house. Hi, girl.
Hi.
How are you feeling?
Feeling mellow.
Mellow. Today is quite chill, right?
Yeah.
Like when we came into the studio, it was like everybody's like so chill, like slowing down, and I'm also a little tired. But I'm so excited to have you on. So I got home like at about 11 p.m. last night. I showered. I only had time to start working on your episode. And I just couldn't stop the moment I started. And I'm like, there's just so many things I want to ask. And I slept at 3. Which explains I'm a little tired today, but I'm actually like really energized in a way where I am really looking forward for you to tell your story because I'm so curious.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to share my journey too.
Yes. Okay, Rocyie, before we start, right, how do we actually pronounce your name? It's spelled very uniquely. So it's Rocyie. So is it like your English name or is it like your Chinese name?
That's my English and Chinese name. It's actually in my IC.
Right.
But a lot of people ask me like, is your name in your IC or did you just spell it out, like made it up? But actually it is in my IC. It's my real name.
Wow.
My full name is Rocyie Wong.
Rocyie Wong.
Yes.
So it's like Wong, Rocyie Wong also can.
It's like just Rocyie Wong.
Rocyie Wong. Okay,
Rocyie
got it. I think I love names like that. I wish my mom gave me because I don't really like my Chinese name. But like I love that your mom named it so, like she spelled it so nicely. It's not like Rokyi. It's Rocyie.
Yeah, I think it's quite intentional in a way. Yeah. I think she wants me to be special, to feel special, which I do. I do feel special.
And you are special, and that's why you're here today.
Thank you.
Okay, for our listeners who may be getting to know you for the first time, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
That is always a very difficult question, don't you think so?
Yeah, I know.
Like there's so many sides of us. Mm-hmm. So where do we actually begin, right? So on social media, I am a psoriasis advocate. I talk about my life and journey living with a chronic skin condition called psoriasis, which I took more than 10 years to accept. Mm-hmm. So that's my social media life.
Yeah.
But personally, I'm just another girl, just trying to learn how to live a full life and a joyful life.
And I think you're doing it so gracefully, so wonderfully. I think I've been following you for a while. But I was trying to recall, when did we first meet? Do you remember? Because I don't.
That's a good question.
Right? I always ask my guests, like, when did we first meet? And a lot of the times we don't get it right. But I feel like probably at one of the events, maybe. But like how this episode came about was because Rocyie, if you don't mind me sharing, you reached out via DM. And actually, I have to say, she's been on my guest list for a very long time. No, really.
Wow, thank you.
I followed your story when I first got to know you. I'm like, oh my gosh, your story is so interesting. And I'm all about storytelling and I love telling stories and helping others tell their stories and hearing other people's stories, right? So when I saw yours, I'm like, no, wait, we need to get her on. It's just that I think with my schedule recently, I haven't had the time. And when you nudged me, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, let's do it. I don't want to wait anymore when the time is right. Time is never right. I'm always going to be busy. So thanks for the nudge.
Life happens.
Yeah.
And I guess personally, I've also learned to speak out for myself because I think it's very much needed for a person like me and also my whole community. Mm-hmm. We don't often do that. We don't want to be seen. And we always just used to hide because that makes us feel comfortable. That makes us feel like we are not being judged, of course. Mm-hmm. It's just very difficult to put ourselves out there generally. Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you for doing what you did.
Thank you.
I'm excited. So shall we get started?
Yes.
Okay. So of course, we are here today to get to know what it's like to live with a skin condition like psoriasis. And it's not something a lot of people have, but at the same time, a lot of people do have it. It's like commonly uncommon. So before we start, maybe you can educate me a little bit about what is psoriasis? Is it the same as eczema? Yeah.
So that is actually the question I get the most. Mm-hmm. So psoriasis and eczema, they are very different. But I would say They are just like siblings. There are a lot of similarities in terms of, life living with a skin condition, but different in the sense where the symptoms, the way to manage it, and the definition of it is also very, very different. So psoriasis is a chronic skin condition, and it is also an autoimmune condition. So a lot of people think that psoriasis is just a skin condition, but it's actually not. It doesn't just affect the skin, it also affects the nails and the joints.
Oh.
Yeah. So there are also many types of skin psoriasis.
Right.
But generally, when we are affected by psoriasis, 30% of us might also have psoriatic arthritis. So it's very difficult because you live with the possibility of waking up another day with joint pain, which nobody wants that.
Of course.
And the worst case scenario for psoriasis is actually people can be actually bedridden. I saw someone just like me, my age. At the point of time, I was only 16, and I saw another girl being bedridden in hospital, having the same condition. So,
with the physical flare-ups and that joint
yes,
pain.
so it's very scary.
Yeah.
So we try to live a full life.
Thanks for sharing.
Still very difficult to talk about it.
No, of course. And the fact that you came here today, I think it means a lot to me. Thank you so much. And if you need to cry, I want you to know that this is a safe space.
I'm already crying.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Can I have some tissue?
Yes, please. We will pass you some tissue. This is as real as it gets. I think before we even dive deeper, the fact that you're here to tell your story, I think that speaks volume. And I want you to know that this is a safe space for you, okay? And thank you so much. And at any point you need to pause, please let us know.
Okay.
Okay. And guys, to those of you listening, this is as real as it gets. None of this are scripted, and Rocyie is really just telling her story from the bottom of her heart, and I can just feel it. I'm also trying to not tear up, but yeah, let's get back to what we were talking about. I was doing some research on psoriasis. Obviously, I have to because we are going to talk about it. And I think, yeah, exactly like what you said, it's nothing like what I think I know, because according to World Health Organization, they describe psoriasis as a common, chronic, non-communicable skin disease with no clear cause or cure. So it's incurable.
Yep, that's incurable. And I've had it since I was 9 years old. So it feels like, walking into a maze where nobody is ever going to able to give you any type of guidance.
Okay, before we go deeper, does anyone in your family have this as well, or are you the first?
So I do not know anyone in my family having it, surprisingly. Yeah, so people always talk about psoriasis being hereditary.
Yeah.
I mean, there are cases like that, but for me, maybe it's a little bit different.
Yeah. Okay. So let's rewind time a little. From the time you first found out, how old were you? How did you feel and what happened?
So my symptoms started when I was 9 years old. At a point of time, just another neighborhood kid in primary school. And I started just having a lot of dandruffs on my scalp. So I remember waking up early in the morning. I would just do like I use my fingernails to try to get all the dandruff out of my hair and scalp so that it wouldn't be so embarrassing. So that was my first memory. And eventually when I hit 11 or 12 years old, it started to itch. Then when you itch, it's very normal to scratch, right?
Yeah.
So when you scratch, there are a lot of wounds, and I would always wake up with my fingernails with blood and my pillowcase with blood too. But because the progression of the whole condition is so slow that I didn't realize that it was something that I need to pay extra attention to, even though that I was in pain every day. Imagine like when you shower, when the water hit your scalp, it's just water hitting open wound.
Yeah.
So it's very painful. It stings.
But you didn't think too much about it.
I didn't think too much about it.
And it was just on your scalp, right? So technically you can't really see it because there's hair covering it, right?
Yeah, but when you look at my scalp, it's basically whole thing was red color.
Okay.
So obviously it was very, very not normal. I guess it's also because earlier my parents were not experienced at all when it comes to dealing with any sort of skin condition. So we were just using a lot of Head and Shoulder,
Oh no. So
which was actually very harsh on my scalp too.
yeah.
So education is very important.
So in some ways that kind of made it worse, right? Or
I can't be sure.
you can't be sure.
I mean, that was a long time ago,
Yeah.
but of course I was in a lot of pain, so
Yeah.
it can't be that good.
Yeah. And then what happened?
And then, so there was just one fine day, my family friend came over and they were just telling us about some sort of like products, right? To help with my dandruff issues. So we tried that on. So they look at my scalp, actually. Like someone out of my family looked at my scalp and they were like, oh my God, this is serious. You need to get it checked by a doctor.
Yeah.
So that was when I got my diagnosis at the age of 14.
Wait, so that's like many years after.
5 years later.
5 years later. Oh wow. Okay. How was it like living with psoriasis in school? Like, did it eventually manifest onto your skin? Like, how long did it take? Because you said it started with your scalp. So how long did it start, showing up on your skin where it's more visible?
So at the age of 14, when we knew that it was psoriasis, it's a type of skin condition. And in Chinese, we call it 牛皮癣. 牛皮癣. Cow skin.
Oh,
牛皮
牛皮
癣.
癣.
Because the texture is very rough. So it's like cow skin lah.
So psoriasis is 牛皮癣.
Yes, in Chinese.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's also called 银硝病.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we found out about that, I think we were just in a very panic mode.
Okay.
So we were, going everywhere to look for a cure. At that point of time, we were thinking that, it's just a skin condition. I will just apply some sort of cream and it would just go away. But it didn't. So eventually, it just spread to my whole body. So the experience was for sure not very pleasant. At the age of 14, just a normal girl wanting to be pretty. That's it.
Of course.
So I felt like it was taken away from me.
But this is so hard. Let's take your time. It's okay, babe. Take your time.
My period is over. Why am I still feeling like this?
Anytime you are ready.
Luckily, I never wear any eye makeup.
Same here. I'm about to cry also.
Okay, so
You just want to be
I was
pretty.
I just wanted to be pretty, but I couldn't, so I hide.
You didn't feel pretty.
No,
How did you feel?
feel like I was a monster, and I was a totally different person in school. Still very active. Like I appear very confident. I've always been very opinionated and very loud.
Yeah.
But going home, when I take off my clothes, then when I look at my skin in the mirror, then I feel like I keep asking why me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I ask myself would I ever fall in love? Would I ever be able to just wear a dress to prom? Just as simple as that. Yeah.
For the little things.
All the little things.
And if you don't mind me asking, how did the other kids in school treated you? Were they nice or otherwise?
It's a very good question because nobody knew.
Oh.
I hid it so well that nobody knew. I mean, my
how did
close friends knew, of course,
Yeah.
but they never knew that it was that serious.
Right.
They just thought that, oh, it's just, some sort of dandruff problems and like a few dots on my skin. But they never knew that sometimes I can't sleep because it was so itchy. I never knew that like when I take off my clothes, the flakes will, fall on the floor. They never knew that every day I'll go back and just try to force myself to drink medicine. So the version that they met in school of me is the version of me that I wanted to show them. The confident side, the loud side. I mean, these are me too.
Yeah.
I mean, until today, I'm still like that.
Yeah.
But of course, we don't really show our painful side to the world, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And we are so good at hiding it.
So good. So good. I was so impressed too.
How do you hide it physically?
Because at that point of time, I just had it on my torso area, on my legs. So I was in SK, I was in SMK.
So can wear baju kurung?
I was wearing baju kurung all the time. And sometimes when we were needed to go under the sun, I would just tell the teacher that, oh, I'm sensitive to the sun. I'm allergic to the sun. So I was able to excuse myself.
Okay. And no one ever really asked you?
No, I didn't allow them to as well. Like when
you were hiding it, you didn't want them to know.
And when you are uncomfortable talking about it, people know that actually.
So the walls were up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you also said that you had to stop school for treatment at some point. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I remember when I was Form 5, we were busy sitting for SPM.
Yeah.
It was a very stressful period for me because, I wanted to score very well. And my whole body was just flaring up. And at a point of time, I was also taking some sort of medication that suppressed my symptoms. And once I stopped the medication, it just came out all over and it was worse. So it was very hard to deal with. And after I sat for my exams, I was literally, I felt so relieved that I could just take a break. And I went back to the same school for Form 6. But at the point of time, I couldn't handle it. So treatments and studies. So I had to take a break. And I guess at that point of time it's also because I didn't know how to face other people.
Yeah.
When my skin was so ugly at that point of time.
You talked about flare-ups. And I also know that you share a lot about your flare-up episodes on your socials. And I think that's so brave. Do you mind maybe breaking it down for us, what it's like to have a flare-up and what was your worst episode like?
So, skin condition skin condition is our life. We go through up and down, right? And when we go through up and down, it's very unpredictable. Same goes with skin condition. But I guess what's a little bit different about skin condition is when the flare-up is coming, you see it coming, you will have the PTSD. Because you went through it before, you know how bad it get. And it's very traumatic. Each and every episode of flare-up is very traumatic because you see it coming and you cannot avoid it. So the sense of helplessness and hopelessness, it's where it's the hardest. It's not so much of the pain, sometimes.
The physical pain is
It's like, I'm used to it already. But oh my God, the hopelessness and the helplessness is like, oh my God, I'm going to go through this again. When am I ever going to get help? A proper help, like someone that can actually really lessen my burden on this skin condition without the side effects.
Of course.
So during the worst episodes, I couldn't walk actually. So when I stand up, you will feel the blood rushing down to lower parts of your body, and you couldn't walk because it's very painful.
Like what is painful? Like the surface of your skin hurts or like the joint, like you said, or both?
So fortunately, I do not have joint pain yet.
Thank God, yeah.
But because the skin condition affect my skin in a very extensive surface. So when it's inflamed,
Yeah.
you know, like when you have wound,
Yes.
like for example, you have one piece of wound here. When it's healing, you will have a layer of
Scab.
on top of it, right?
Yes.
Imagine that on your whole leg.
Like the bottom of your leg?
Yeah, the whole leg.
Right.
The whole leg.
The whole leg.
The whole leg. Yeah. So it's and at a point of time, at one point of my life, my whole of my scalp was affected by psoriasis. So it felt like my whole scalp was being pulled because it's scab,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah. So that's how I can explain to you, lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if this is uncomfortable for you to talk about, because I feel like for a lot of us who may not have experienced it before, I think it's important to kind of like give them some sort of visual understanding verbally.
It's fine.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
fine.
sorry if it's uncomfortable, but thanks
it's
for
fine.
breaking it down. But I cannot imagine. I think having a little bit of scab is already so uncomfortable. So does it peel off and then bleed some more sometimes?
Psoriasis is where it's an overproduction of skin cells. So I'm always flaking.
Right.
You know, when I stand up from this chair, you might see some sort of
Yeah.
flakes here and there. I mean, when I was younger, I used to be very ashamed of that, but now I just clean it after
Yeah.
myself and
Yeah.
that's it. I just
Yeah.
walk off like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no big deal. It is what it is, right?
Yeah, it is what it is.
Like your journey with psoriasis has been a decade-long one. It's been about 10 years, right? 15 now, 15 years. So when you knew that there was no cure to it, how did it make you feel?
I guess when I first got diagnosed with psoriasis, I did not think too much about it because I've always been told that like, oh, just a skin condition, you can just apply some cream and it will go away, right? But it didn't. So for the longest time, we were trying treatments after treatments. I got my hopes up and then disappointed, got my hopes up again and then disappointed again. I mean, that process I went through multiple times. So the denial stage was a very long one.
Yeah.
I've always thought that one day I would, miraculously, found some sort of treatments that it could work on me. It didn't. Yeah. So right now, the acceptance stage right now,
Okay.
it took a long time.
For you to even talk about it
Yes,
publicly.
exactly. So right now, my focus is just I need to learn how to manage it well.
Emotionally.
Emotionally.
Because physically, I think you know what to do, right?
I think it's both.
Both.
It's very unpredictable, honestly.
Every episode is different.
Very different.
Okay. Now, the first thing that pops up when you Google is psoriasis, the word is whether or not is it contagious. So what are some of the biggest misconceptions about psoriasis?
The fact that it's contagious,
Right.
but it is not
It's not
contagious. I guess it's very normal for people to react defensively because they are fearful of something they don't understand. So I don't blame people for reacting that way. But I guess people can always be kind, right? I mean, ever since I started sharing about my journey on social media, it's very rare for me to encounter any sort of like unkind comments or even like physically, right? It's very rare. But when it does happen, oh gosh, it's very traumatic. It's very traumatic.
Do you mind sharing?
So I was also featured on a podcast. I was featured on a newspaper
Okay.
like 2 years ago. It was a Chinese newspaper.
Yeah.
And I posted it online. It's a 中国报. They posted on their own social media too. There was one comment from a guy saying that 这种女人没有人会要她的. Yeah. So I think this is something that I have been fearful of the moment I got diagnosed. And to see it in front of my eyes and from actually coming from an opposite sex.
Yeah.
So I was imagining if I read this when I was 14, it would have scarred me for life. But thankfully, I read this when I was 28.
Yeah.
Where I already I have a very strong sense of self-worth, which I really, put in a lot of work to build. And to see that, I just laugh it off. And I just think to myself that, pity this person. Why this person has to live in such an unkind world, right?
Yeah. It's often a reflection of themselves too.
Yes.
Right?
Always. Yeah. So, but not a lot of people have the strength and resilience to understand this.
And to be okay with these kind of comments.
Exactly.
And what do you have to say to them if they're going through that right now and they just don't have the resilience that you have now?
I think a lot of people always think that, acceptance and self-love, we can only cultivate from within. But I think a lot of times people don't realize is that human, we are actually relational. So I would say that if you can't find the acceptance and self-love from within, then you'll find your people. I always tell people you have to find your people that want the best for you, people that, people who are rooting for you, people who love you for who you truly are.
Yeah.
Find those people and cultivate them.
Yeah.
Cultivate the sense of self-acceptance from them until you can cultivate it from within in yourself.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be the easiest way.
And it's a very doable way. And it's something that I also stand for, and I totally agree with you. If you can't have it in yourself, sometimes it's okay to reach out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay to lean on someone else and to learn from how they do it, and then you learn how to do it yourself. Because we don't know what we don't know.
Yep.
If truly your whole life feels like you're so lack of this self-love or self-resilience or this strength within you, how can you cultivate it without understanding it, without seeing it from someone else? I think you've broken it down really beautifully. And I want to kind of circle back to what you said about the comment coming from an opposite sex. How has psoriasis impacted your dating life?
Well, psoriasis affect my whole life.
Yeah.
Down to the very moment where I lay down in bed, I'm still dealing with it.
Yeah.
So it feels like there's no way out. So yes, every aspect of my life is affected by psoriasis. My love life, my relationship, my career, my ambition, my friendship, everything, right? But these days I've been dealing with a lot of grief when it comes to my career. Like the what could have been, right?
Yeah.
I grew up, I have very huge ambition. I wanted to climb the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a marketing director of like a MNC company. I mean, back then lah. And I knew that if it wasn't for psoriasis, I would chase after that dream. I mean, whether or not I like it is a different story, right?
Yeah.
But at least I had the chance to chase after that dream. Yeah. But I have to say, I love my life now too, right? And I truly believe that I'm living my purpose too. So that's that. And there's also a lot of grief that came up when I see my friends. I have amazing friends, and they are so intelligent. They are so amazing, strong women doing so well for their career. And when I see my friend progress, it's so hard not to feel envious, jealous. And maybe it's not just career, maybe it's just the way they dress, right? When I look at you, when you just wear a dress. Singlet, when you're wearing singlet, I'll just look at your skin and like, oh, how I wish I can have that skin, right? So that's what goes on in my head. People say that, Rocyie, you are living your purpose, that you are doing something so amazing for this community. Oh my God, but some days it's just so hard. Yeah, and but we go on. You know, life goes on. And we pick ourselves up and we walk along. So when it comes to love life, I have a lot to share.
If you're okay to share, I would love to hear it.
Which part you want to know?
What's on your mind right now?
So I have been through a few relationships, right? What I've learned is that what I'm very grateful for my past relationship was that I've always been accepted.
Accepted.
Yes. Like when I can't accept myself, when I can't love myself, there's another individual that were there for me in my relationships. But there were also times where I was out of relationships. And that's when I had to put myself out there to explore like, who do I want to date? What do I want in a relationship?
What's your type?
What's my type? Actually, I don't know. I really don't know. When I look at my past partners, right, I was like,
They're never the same.
What was I doing with my life?
Why did I date you?
That's very questionable choices.
Don't we all?
Yeah. So, and I guess when I put myself out there, the question that we always ask ourselves is, what do I want in a partner, right? What do I want in a partner? But in order for us to find that answer, we have to believe that we actually deserve that partner, right? We have to find ourselves worthy of that kind of dream relationship that we want for ourselves.
Yeah.
So looking back, I would say I didn't know what I wanted in a relationship. I really didn't know. And even if I knew, it wasn't exactly the right type for me too.
Okay.
Until I was in it.
Right.
So my relationships, I've been in multiple relationships and I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Yeah.
And because I learned so much in each relationship.
Yeah.
And I grow a lot from each relationship too. And when I met my current partner, he told me that, I'm looking for a serious relationship, someone to live life with, to build a life with. I told him that, okay, this is very new to me. Like, I've never thought about this, but we can try.
You've never seen long-term with a partner?
Never.
Really?
Yeah.
So to you, it's always been short-term. Is it because you feel like you don't know when they're going to leave and had enough, I can't deal with this? Is that where you're coming from?
I guess so. I'm still exploring that narrative.
Okay.
Perhaps it also came from my own family background. It's such a huge learning curve to find out what I want, what I deserve, and what I aspire to be. When it comes to not just relationship, but actually my career too.
Yeah.
And my whole life actually.
It's all interlinked.
Yeah.
The courage you have, the love you have for yourself in a relationship manifests through your friendships, through the people in your life, through your career, and through the things that you do, down to the little things every single day.
Yes.
Wow. And how did you meet your current partner, and how awesome is he?
We met on Bumble.
Ooh, online dating. Tell me more.
Oh my gosh, my online dating experience. Oh my God.
Do you have any?
I have plenty
Crazy
of it.
ones?
I have plenty of it.
Can share?
Can. Because I was single for 2 years.
Yeah.
At that point of time, I took a break 2 years long just to recover from a very impactful relationship.
Okay.
Took 2 years to heal and finally ready to explore. So the first option was
Bumble.
because at the point of time we were dealing with COVID too. how to meet new people, right? So yeah, dating apps. I remember when I put my picture up there, I was with my close friends, and they were giving me courage lah, basically. I was like freaking out. And when I actually, matched with someone and we actually started the conversation, I was like, oh my God, this is happening. And very, very anxious because the act of putting my picture up there was for another person to approve and not approve. Right?
Yep.
And I guess it's even more scary for people like me that is so afraid of rejection because of my physical appearance.
Yeah.
So before I met up with my first Tinder date, I had a mental breakdown. I cried. And after I met him, it went pretty okay actually. I broke down again.
But why?
I have that picture in my phone.
Oh my God.
I always document these moments to remind myself, how far I've come.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Why did you break down before? Like, maybe I would love to like pick your brain. Like, why did you break down before? Too nervous? Don't know how he would see you? Is that how?
Yeah. Because like picture, maybe you can't see much of my skin, but in real life, you can see, right?
Yeah.
So I remember first date, we went to a vegan restaurant.
This guy, right?
This guy. No, not this guy. Sorry, this was before.
Okay. I mean, not the current guy.
Yeah, not the current guy. So we went out and he looked at me, right? So we were seated just beside a lamp.
Okay.
And he actually like looked at me like, wow, actually your skin quite serious, huh?
What? Straight up.
So honestly, I don't have like any ill feelings towards him. Like it's chill, but it's like,
bro, filter a bit, can ah?
Yeah, like can you not be so like in my face? Like I know, I look at it every day, right?
Yeah.
And I've also told you about it.
Exactly.
Right? Wow. And this funny thing is, it's very funny when before I met someone, right? I always tell them, actually, can you Google me? Really? And I don't know how to tell them like, I have this skin condition, Then it's so much, so much to explain. So I just tell people, my name is Rocyie. You can Google me. And then some people actually think that I'm very prideful. Right. Why ask you Google you? You cannot tell me about yourself, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Like what's so important about you that I need to Google you, right?
Yes, yeah.
So,
that no filter.
I know what it feels like going to the gym and feel completely clueless and intimidated. I was once there. That's why I started Motion Lab. We're a fitness studio that focuses on small group classes and personal training. Our goal is simple, to help you move better so you can live better. Start your first class for only 49 ringgit today. For more info, go to www.motionlab.live or check us out on IG at motionlabmy. It's motionlabmy.
So, the no filter guy, what happened?
Like, it worked out lah.
After the first date, no more already, right?
That was my first date after 2 years break. Like first proper date that I want to get to know someone, right? Yeah. I think he's very kind. I think he's
too straightforward only.
Yeah.
Bro, if you're watching this, maybe filter a bit next time.
Yeah. So that was an experience.
Right. Oh, wow. Okay. Any other stories you can share?
Any other
I feel like Tinder or dating stories are always the most interesting. Okay, wait. The one that you broke down after the date, even though it went well. Why?
I was so scared.
About?
About being rejected.
Even though it went well?
It went pretty okay.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, when you want to hang out next, right?
Oh.
That's like a green light. Okay,
yeah,
we can move on.
Like, like you. Let's take on the next date.
Like, yes, I'm approved.
You felt that way, that you were approved.
Yeah. I guess for me, I have very, very huge fear of rejection.
Yeah.
I guess everybody have that to some extent.
For sure.
But for someone like me that, we yearn for validation and acceptance because we can't really find it in ourselves. Yeah. So we actually rely on external sources. Yeah. And especially when it comes to dating and opposite sex, it's even more sensitive.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't want to go back there.
To date again? I hope you mean to date again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you never do.
Yeah.
Okay? I hope you never do. Feels like your current guy seems quite steady pom pipi.
Okay lah. Okay lah. Can accept.
Okay, perfect. Can I ask you a question? Because I feel like I'm sure there are a lot of people out there actually like maybe the no filter guy. Maybe he actually just don't know what to say, right? And he just kind of like said everything right off his head. So actually for people who maybe could be dating someone on the other side, not the person going through it, person getting to know someone with a psoriasis or a skin condition like yours, actually what would be a good way to approach? Don't talk about it at all? Or how can they ask in a way where it will not make you feel uncomfortable? I'm curious too.
I guess first and foremost, if people are curious, they can always ask. Because it may actually, warm us up to open up to have this conversation, to explain about what we deal with. Other times, what we can actually do is act like it doesn't exist at all, actually.
Like for them to act like nothing happens. Just talk to me like a normal person.
Exactly. Like, a lot of times, I always felt like there are a lot of special attention on me because of my skin. And sometimes I don't really like that. I feel like I like attention, but not all the time.
Yeah. Don't have to keep giving me special attention thinking that I need it.
Yeah, and like people like, hey, are you okay? Hey, you want extra, whatever, right? Hey, do you want try this cream? Do you want to try this medication? Do you want to talk to this doctor? Sometimes the best thing that people can do for us is to allow us to be normal.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, bro, when we'll hang out next? You want yum cha not? Hey, how are you recently?
Yeah.
You don't have to keep that. Hey, how are you? Hey, your skin looks okay.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, how's your skin? Oh, these days I see your whatever.
唔使講嘅啲嘢。
唔使講嘅啲嘢, just
冇嘢講咗，就
If I want to talk about it,
you will.
I will talk about it. If I want to seek help, I will ask.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I feel like maybe from the perspective of them, like myself who have not been through it, sometimes maybe they don't know what to say. So those are great pointers actually. 唔使講嘅，唔使特登去講。
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where like for example, if you see a person struggling with skin condition and they are really struggling and you would like to offer help, you can actually just ask, hey, I know you're going through a very difficult time with your skin. I'm here for you. Please let me know what I can do for you too. If you need someone to, go for a walk with, just go to somewhere, have a tea. I'm here. Actually, that's enough already.
Yeah.
Just ask, what do you need?
I love it. And I can't help but to just think about what it feels like, because through your stories, like I know and I think I understand better now that psoriasis is really beyond skin deep. It's not really just about what you see, but what's inside and how you go through it. It's physically scarring, yes, but like emotionally, mentally, even more. If you're ready, if you're okay for us to dive deeper a little bit, how do you manage your anxiety and like your fear for rejections and that trauma? Like you said, PTSD even before an episode comes out. I know it's a little heavy, so take your time.
I think growing up with a skin condition, when you grow up as a girl, you used to see a lot of, women in magazines. You used to also watch a lot of women on TV, on, MTV, E-News. And you never see anybody with skin condition.
Yeah.
So what's that to say about you? Like, when I was growing up, I grew up with the narrative that I'm not normal. I'm not supposed to be like this. And I don't know where should I exist.
Oh, you don't know where you should exist.
Like, where is my space?
Yeah.
If I don't see any representation of people like me. Like, where do I go? What do I grow into?
Yeah.
So, at the tender age of 9 to 17, right? Primary school to high school.
High school.
Those were the prominent age where someone actually formed their character, their personality, and of course their confidence. And I felt that I was being robbed
Of your childhood.
of the growth
Mm.
of a normal teenager to young adulthood. So, at the age of 22, that was when I started to ask myself, who do I want to become? Because at the point of time, I was already struggling with this skin condition for 11 years already.
Yeah.
I had to make a decision. Do I want to keep rejecting myself, or do I make a stand for myself? And at that point of time, I struggled so much to like myself actually. So I started to ask the question, how can I like myself better? So that's when I actually do a little bit of cute exercise with myself of, I call it building a library of self.
Okay.
So imagine us as a person. We are our own universe, right? When we walk into our own world, it's a whole universe.
yes.
So this universe, I imagine it as a library. So this library, they have a lot of categories, right? We have personality, we have values, we have ambition, we have people that we love. I don't know, right? You think different category. So in each category, especially the category of value and principles, I imagining myself walk up to this shelf and I would take out things that I don't like and I'll put in things that I like.
Oh.
So that was the starting point of me building myself back.
And this was at about 22 years old.
22.
Regaining yourself again.
Yes.
Taking back your power.
Yes.
Oh, wow. This is my first time hearing this method. And I think...
It's just a concept that I made up.
Well, it's a great concept. A lot of more people should do that. I will go back and think about my library.
Yeah. So that's when I asked myself, really, like, who do I want to become? And I guess that was the starting point of me thinking about the term greatness.
Greatness.
Like going beyond oneself. What do I want to leave behind? And how do I want to live? So, yeah. And here we are.
And here you are. And then, of course, like, I think beyond everything that you've just shared, not only you found that courage to regain your self-worth, self-resilience, going through what you did, I cannot imagine, but you also took your time to help other people through your advocacy work. And at what point did you realize, because I know a lot of people, or at least that I've heard of, most of them choose to struggle in silence. Like, I don't want to bother. It's okay. I'll handle this myself. But you took a different route. And at what point did you realize, I don't want to just help me, I want to help others too?
My advocacy started at the age of 25. So growing up, I had to take multiple breaks from my studies. So I graduated later compared to other people as well.
At what age did you graduate?
Yeah, I graduated at 25 too. I was waiting for my certification. Yeah. So at that point of time, when we graduated, right? Can you imagine throwing back to the day where you graduated? You felt like, oh my God, the world is my oyster.
Yes, I
This
do.
is when I will show the world who I truly am.
Finally, no more assignments.
Yeah. And, that was a defining age of, independence.
Yes.
And at that point of time, it was also where I struggled with my skin the most. I was having my worst flare-up at that
Flare-ups.
point of time. I've realized that at a point of time too, my skin condition has become very unstable too. So it made me feel very scared. And I wasn't able to get a 9 to 5 job at that point of time because I was so uncomfortable. So I decided to take a gap year just to rest, actually. And while I was resting, I think the idea of the project just came up. It didn't just came up, sorry. I had the idea of it at the age of 22 too.
Okay.
But I didn't have the courage.
You did it at 25.
And I did it at 25.
The idea has always been there.
Yes, I took 3 years to do this. But the idea was to actually I want to just share who I am actually.
Yeah.
And at the age of 25, the intention was still the same. I just wanted to be myself. And I realized why it was so important to me at that point of time was because I have decided that one of my core values of my life is authenticity.
That's in your library.
Yes.
Authenticity.
Yes.
Love it. And I can see it right through you. Like there's just no bullshit, straight to the point. You tell it as it is. You're so raw and real with your sharing, and you're living what you want.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. So at a point of time, at the age of 25, it was a very painful stage. Also because I just got out of a very impactful relationship. I wouldn't say it's toxic anymore because I feel like when it comes to toxic, this term, we always have a part to play with it.
Yeah, I agree.
So it was a very impactful relationship and I loved the person very much. And for me to live without that love, that acceptance,
Did you choose to walk out of it?
Yeah.
And that's even harder, right?
Yes. So I wanted to heal. And I guess that project, it was called Project Naked, by the way.
Yes.
It was 23 days online sharing that, I opened up to the world. This is what and who I am. And I still remember how scary it was.
How scary was it?
Oh my gosh. I took 3 years to cultivate that courage and 2 months to write my story. I had a lot of help.
Yeah.
I felt so fortunate. I had the right help. And I think God put the right people into my life too to make it happen.
Yeah.
And when the first picture came up, everybody was so shocked.
What picture are you talking about?
It was the first picture that I actually show my skin.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, you've never done that before?
I've never done that.
Before that point?
No. I can send you the picture. You can show the audience.
Yes, I will share it.
And yeah, everybody was so shocked that I was living with this. And I guess also because, right, I've always been known as, Rocyie, the pretty girl.
And you're pretty. What are you talking about?
I know I'm pretty. And that's why it's also so hard for people to believe that, a person who is physically decent and pleasant to look at can have a condition like this. And I guess that was one of the reasons why people find it very shocking too.
I read up on a couple of your stories, your interviews, and can I just tell you, and not once I felt the word ugly never registered in my head. In fact, I felt like you're so beautiful. Sorry. Sorry, I'm so emotional this episode. Not once, Rocky. I have to tell you this. You're so beautiful. And I want you to know that. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And I don't know what it's like to go through what you did, but I can't imagine the pain, and I want you to know that. I don't want you to feel ugly anymore. You're not a monster. And that hurt me so much hearing that you said you felt like a monster.
And it's not just me.
So many others, right? Yeah, you guys are beautiful. You're not a monster.
Can I just say that, worldwide, 2 to 3% of people affected with psoriasis, and there are 125 million people. And when it comes to eczema, which is our siblings,
the very more popular sibling, right?
Yes, 30% of the world population is affected by eczema, and 20% of it, they are children.
Oh my
God. And I guess that is the reason why I'm here.
Oh my gosh, you're doing big things, Rocky. You have no idea the waves you're creating, the ripple effect that is going to change people's lives. So I think this conversation is so, so important. And I think for me to just, honestly, I'm only scratching the surface. I only have about an hour with you. I know I'm only scratching the surface, but just scratching the surface, I've already learned so much. And I cannot imagine going through it 24/7 in your life for the past many years. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me too.
Yeah. Wow, I learned so much about you today, Rocky. I love your library. I love your little Tinder date stories. And I think I want to talk about your work with your community, the work that you've done. The interviews, you were on Tatler, you were on Vogue, you're all over the place, you're on newspaper, on media. And thank you for being here today to continue to spread the word for a lot of people who may not have the courage to do so, who are still struggling silently. How can they reach out? Someone who is going through a skin condition like yours, they don't know who to talk to. Like you said, you hid it for so many years. Where can they start? They want to help, but they don't. They just can't. They feel like they're drowning. What can they do?
By the way, can I just say that I was on Vogue?
You are! Can we say that one more time? Rocky, you're on Vogue!
Yeah!
Wait, okay.
It's so crazy, right?
I saw it, I was like, girl.
I was like,
wait, did they reach out to you?
They reached out to me.
How did that feel?
Actually, I didn't feel anything. When it came out also, I didn't feel anything until people started sharing about it. Then I realized that, it was a big deal. Because at that point of time, I was already on a lot of media.
Yeah.
Like, I'm guessing you can relate to, like, sometimes you just get used to it, right? You take it for granted sometimes.
You do.
And when it came out from Vogue, it was just another feature for me until people started talking about it.
Girl, it's such a big deal. And that's the interview I read yesterday, and the one with Tatler.
Yeah.
Girl, come on.
Thank you very much.
Can we give a big hand? Oh my God, I need a clap. Wow, so good. Yeah, soak it all in. But I get what you mean by you don't feel it until the after. Like, I met Park Seo-joon, I didn't feel much until the after. I met Paris Hilton, I didn't feel much because it felt like any other job until the after. I get it. I
feel the air.
Paris Hilton
air.
By the way, as of this recording, I actually just met Paris Hilton yesterday. But it will only be out like maybe a couple of weeks later. But oh my gosh, she's amazing. But anyway, let's talk about you.
So, when I started sharing my own story on social media back in 2018, I did not expect it to be a path for me, honestly.
And to reach out to so many people.
Yeah. So the first thing that I learned was that there are actually a lot of people just like me. And I didn't have a clear direction, honestly. I just kept going and share my voice because I know I don't want people to feel alone. That's it. That's why I've always been so open on social media about my struggle with psoriasis. And because of that, I've had the opportunity to be featured. I'm very grateful. And also because of that, I was invited to a lot of forum and also invited to be a representation for Malaysia when it comes to the psoriatic community.
Right.
worldwide. I was actually in Italy last year as well.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, 2 years ago. This year was in Singapore, and next year it might be Sweden. Hopefully, I'm going.
So you're the international representative of psoriasis in Malaysia. Is that correct?
So we call it IFPA ambassador. It's called International Federation of Psoriasis Association. So it is an NGO that, they try to push forward the movement for psoriatic care worldwide. And I was very fortunate to be representing Malaysia. And because of that, it opened up my eyes about where do we want this community to go locally in Malaysia at the very least. And I'm very aware there are still a lot of people who are struggling in silence when it comes to acceptance, when it comes to just wearing what we want on a beach, just to go to a kopitiam and drink a tea in shorts. These are the things that people can't do, right? And I've created this project called Safe Space back in 2018. It was actually just a physical avenue for people with the same struggle just to gather and talk about our struggles. But for many years, I didn't know where I wanted to go. And I was also so exhausted with my life. And I guess at this point of time, with all these experiences, with my personal experience, with my knowledge and observation about other people with the same condition and similar condition, and also my experience advocating for this community internationally on a global level, when you have a bigger picture, then you'll be able to have a clearer view of where I want this to go. Before this, I've always just seen myself as, just a micro influencer. Like, sometimes I couldn't see the importance of my work too. But moving forward, we are going to take massive action.
Amazing.
So the goal is to create a platform to gather people, to make our voice heard, and to continue doing what I'm doing, but giving a platform for other people to tell their stories. And to also crafting a safe space, like what you're doing.
I love it.
Crafting a safe space for people to heal emotionally and physically too. That has always been my dream back in 2018. But I didn't know how, right? With limited experience, with self-doubt. I have to fight my own inner voice, inner critic.
All the demons in your head.
Oh gosh, it's so hard.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So I guess at the age of 30, right now I'm 30, I am celebrating a new beginning.
You're 30 and thriving.
Yeah.
And that leads to your podcast that you will be launching very soon. Can you tell us a little bit more? Yay, we got a new podcast in town.
So very excitingly that I wanted to share also, I'm launching my own podcast.
Amazing.
It's called The Glow Beyond. So I hope that people can see, what their struggle is and, just glow beyond that. Like what I'm glowing now. Just kidding.
You are totally glowing, babe. Serious.
So it is actually going to be a collective learning experience because nobody knows all the answer to our struggles. But hopefully by gathering resources, gathering people and stories, we are able to improve our lives one step at a time. With stories, with knowledge, with a lot of healing and community.
Love it. When is that coming? November?
Yes, it is going to be launched in November.
Okay.
I'm still a one-man show, so
take your time. I mean, it's coming already. It's coming already.
So if ever anyone who's listening to this, if you're struggling with skin condition, or if ever anyone around you is struggling with any form of skin condition, you can actually point them to my way.
Yes, definitely. Please do. And Rocyie, with your years of experience, you definitely have the resources now with the work that you do as well. So The Glow Beyond? podcast launching in November. So if you're listening to this in November, go check it out. But if before November, you got to wait for a little bit more. And I think I usually always end my episode with the 3 questions. Not sure if you know.
I know.
You know.
Very curious what are the questions going to be.
So I was really so curious. It's all the same question. But anyway, let's start. First question is, what are you currently head over heels for?
I'm currently head over heels for actually myself. Very vain to say.
No, not at all.
It is something that I've worked so hard for.
Own it.
And I think recently I've been thinking about the question of what is the definition of success? I think a lot of people think about that, right?
Yeah.
And I think for me, what is that? And I think today I'm able to show up in this podcast in a short sleeve t-shirt is success.
Girl, I love that for you.
So we'll see. Moving forward, I'm going to keep fighting and keep redefining for myself what success is.
Yeah, I know self-love nowadays with everybody talking about it feels like you said, the more people do it, the more people, it feels like it's nothing anymore. But no, it's so important. And for a lot of people, it's so hard to own it, to have it.
Yeah.
So it's so big that you're head over heels for yourself, Rocyie. That's beautiful. I love. Best answer ever. Sometimes they say nasi lemak lah, this lah, that. But they don't think about themselves. It's true. What's the best or worst advice that you've ever received? You can give me both or either one.
The best and worst advice.
Take it.
I guess is when people say, just be yourself.
Is that bad or good?
It's bad and good because when you ask me to be myself, but I don't know how to be myself when I'm so scared, right? And if I be myself, I'm scared I'll be offensive to you. So what do you want?
Actually, that's very true. That's very true. Yeah, I think just be yourself. It's true. Did I tell you to be yourself yesterday? I think I did because I texted you, hey Rocyie, just want to let you know, sorry for the late text because like I said, I text you quite late. I finished work quite late and I say, we don't have a theme, you just can wear whatever you want. Like, and in terms of the dress code, just be yourself. Okay, I hope I didn't come in.
Actually, you said show up as who you are.
Oh, okay.
So I like that actually. Really like that.
You know, the fact that you said that you showed up in a short sleeve is something that I don't think about because I guess we do live different lives and it made me really reflect on how privileged I am, and even when it comes to like small little things. Not even talking about money, babe. We're just talking about just being yourself, right? Not everyone can comfortably say that they can. So thank you for giving me that perspective and letting me learn. It's very, very humbling. One last one. I can't wait to hear from you. 3 words or advice. Sorry. 3 words or sentences to describe your life right now. 3 words or sentence.
New beginning.
Yes.
That's it. It
2 words?
feels very much that way because when you see the logo for Glow Beyond, it's very different from what I've worked on before.
Okay. So it's a new chapter for you, Rocyie.
It's a new chapter.
And I absolutely adore and love and have so much respect for you, how you turn your pain into passion and now your passion into purpose. Purpose and passion together in one, changing lives. And like you said, your purpose saved you.
It did.
It did.
It really did.
And it started from pain. And if you listening right now, whether or not you have a skin condition, whether or not you feel like you can relate, but I feel like we can all relate. When we feel pain, a lot of the times we don't know how to deal with it. We don't know where to channel it. So I hope Rocyie's story and journey inspired you and give you a little redirection in life because you definitely did for me. This conversation was really impactful.
Thank you.
And I hope you know that. And I can't wait to see the work that you're going to do in your podcast and your advocacy work. And I'll be tuning into that.
Thank you so much.
Is
Thank
there
you for
anything?
having me.
is there anything I didn't manage to ask, but you wanted to say and share while you're here? Because sometimes I may forget. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
I guess the one last thing that I wanted to share was people always think that living your purpose is all rainbows and butterflies. Sometimes living your purpose is the hardest thing to do. And I've truly learned that in my journey. There are many times I wanted to step away because it just seems easier, I can just do some social media work and live a life. But I always come back to this purpose again and again because I guess it's more painful not answering that.
Even though it's painful, you're going through it. You choose it. You choose this.
I wouldn't say I choose it. Sometimes I don't want to choose it.
Okay. That's true. That's not the right way to put it.
I didn't choose to have this skin condition.
Yes.
But I guess I'm just doing my best.
Yes.
And when my best look like this, like that accept and do my best.
Yeah.
Isn't that what life is?
It is. Sometimes life throws you all kinds of curveballs and there's no way you can avoid. Like you said, you have to accept and learn and live with it. And I think you're doing it so beautifully. Thank you so much. Once again, oh my gosh, I think we need to talk after this. But we are coming to the end of this episode. Rocyie, where can people find you on Instagram for those of them who are just getting to know you for the first time?
So you can find me on Instagram. You can just type my name, Rocyie, and you can find the podcast page on my page as well. But if you want to straight go to the podcast page, it's called Glow Beyond Pod.
Love it. And with that, like I always say, don't forget to fall head over heels for yourself first and always. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
I know what it feels like going to the gym and feel completely clueless and intimidated. I was once there. That's why I started Motion Lab. We're a fitness studio that focuses on small group classes and personal training. Our goal is simple, to help you move better so you can live better. Start your first class for only 49 ringgit today. For more info, go to www.motionlab.live or check us out on IG at motionlabmy. It's motionlabmy.